Hey guys, welcome back to the Crafty Nook. I have an exciting set of journals to share. I'm so excited. This is my first ever journal collection. This is the most amount of journals I have ever worked on at one time. And I'm listing them in my Etsy store, all 5 of them. They are up as we speak, and I'm so excited to share them. So let's get to it. I'm going to flip through all of them. We'll show you the covers first. The insides are all very much the same, so I won't do a detailed flip through all of them. I'll just pick one, but I'll do a quick little flip, and then I have a goodie bag that goes with them. So we'll start with this one. These are all made with vintage linens. They're all wraparound journals, and the paper, like the journaling part of it, measures 5.5 by 8. They have 2 signatures. They all have about 60 pages, which front and back makes it what, like 120 places to journal? I don't know. There's 15 pages per signature, and there's 2 signatures. There is a mixture of vintage ephemera, antique ephemera, coffee dyed paper, scrapbook pages, and like envelopes and all kinds of stuff in here. So we start with this first flap. It's got a vintage linen pocket with a coffee dyed envelope. This is empty, but could definitely be filled with something sweet. I will put a card in this as a little thank you for whoever buys it. I have these tabs on the side. Each journal has 4 or 5 handmade dangles coming from these side clusters. There's vintage buttons, vintage lace, these are all vintage beads. I did not back the white pages because it does kind of go with the journal covers and stuff. Plus, I like a little bit of white space in my personal journal, so I thought I'd just stay true to what I do. And it's easy for you to cover that up. This is Antique Ledger from the 1800s, 1892. No, that's not the year. It is from the 1800s, though. Some cardstock. These are vintage taboo pieces from the 80s. Coffee dyed paper. There's a combination of vintage ephemera and handmade ephemera with vintage touches. So all of the tag toppers are vintage ribbons, and most of the whole reinforcements are made out of vintage paper. Vintage book pages, some coffee dyed paper, a pocket full of goodies. There's some Tim Holtz paper and a few Tim Holtz pieces. This is a vintage Farmer's Almanac from, I think, the 50s. Some vintage stationery. Music pages. Some Tim Holtz ephemera and some more vintage stationery. The other side of that almanac. They all have the same combination of pages, just in the colors that kind of coordinate with the journal. They all have a vintage French flashcard inside of a bag. Tags. This is the other side of that antique railroad page. And I might change this out for one that's not Christmas. This is from 1989. Let me remember to do that. Some vintage children book. Oops. This is a vintage railway tag that I got from an online Facebook store. is beautiful. Side tucks made out of vintage paper. Some more vintage paper. This is vintage wallpaper. Another piece of vintage ledger or antique ledger. Some more cardstock and music pages. An envelope full of goodies. Inside of this little envelope, they all have one of these. I got these from that same antique store, and it is like school photos. So this is Arthur Rasser from 9th grade. And I think 104 is his homeroom. Everybody gets one of those. A Tim Holtz card. Antique music paper. A vintage postcard from 1915. They all have a vintage postcard in them. They all have 2 Tim Holtz cards. They all have 5 of these, and I think I might save this one out for Halloween. A piece of little paper. I didn't realize those said those things. I'm going to change them out. This is from 1879, so this little piece here. The other side of that vintage wallpaper. This is Spanish grammar pages, Spanish to English. They all get a colored bag. And they all get this big envelope that has been, it's laser cut. And inside of it is a piece of paper. Beautiful paper. Everybody gets one of those. And it just tucks in the back there. And so this is what it looks like from the side. So that's this one. And like I said, I'm not going to flip all the way through all of them, but I do want to show you their covers. Here's this one. Same situation, a vintage linen pocket. The same dangles, vintage buttons, Tim Holtz stuff. They all have the pieces of ephemera and a vintage postcard from this is 1910. Lots of different things found within. They all have pretty much the same thing inside. And then there's that French flash card. There's that one. Then we have this one. This is the cover of this one. It's kind of a patchwork. It is one of my favorite covers. I love the purple and the yellow together. This is that. Tim Holtz. Here's this postcard. This one is from 1910. There's that. This one has 5 dangles. Okay, the next one is this one. This one is one of my favorites. It's got these birds. And on the inside here. So the ephemera is just sprinkled throughout. Here's that vintage postcard from 1913. They all have vintage buttons in the dangles and on some of the ephemera. This is the flashcard for this one, and it's a bird to match the birds on the front. That's what this one looks like from the side. And then the last one is a little bit different just because of the color of the linen. So this linen had a lot of dark blue, not the soft blue that's in the others. And it reminded me a lot of my mother-in-law. And so I went with a blue inside to kind of match that. And they're all just chock full of beautiful papers. This is the flashcard for this one. This is the card from here. This is from 1907. I thought it went really well. And again, it reminds me of my mother-in-law, and her name was Rose. Just all kinds of goodies in here. Okay. Uh-oh. Just knocked that dangle off. I'll have to fix that before sending it out. Okay, so all of them will also come with a bag. I have already closed up all of the other bags except this one, but I want to show you the type of things you can expect to find in one of these bags. This is a little bag of goodies. So in it is some pieces of the linens for you to decorate inside. There's also a couple of doilies, coffee dyed doilies. There's a little pocket of some sort. There's one of these new Tim Holtz photo thingamajigs. There is a double page vintage catalog page, and there are 4 6x6 papers. There is also a little baggie of die cuts. If I can get it open. These are die cuts from a die cut pack that I used to decorate in the journal. So you just get a variety. A few big ones, a few medium ones, a frame. Everybody gets a frame, and then a few little small ones. And then in the little envelope, everybody is getting some labels. Oops. Let's see if I can get it open without tearing it up. Everybody gets a few cutout labels. Everybody is gonna get some hole reinforcers that kind of match the book, and then a few vintage buttons, a few charms, a flare, and a little dangle. Everybody gets a variety. They're all different. And so, and then a handwritten note from me. And so that's it. These are all available in my Etsy store. I have linked it below. They will include shipping in the price, so you don't have to worry about that. And I'm very excited. This was definitely a labor of love, but I have really enjoyed the process, and I'm so excited to share these things with you guys, and I hope that you love them too. So check out my Etsy if you're interested. Thanks for hanging out in the Crafty Nook. I'll see you next time. Bye.